Okay, this is a question. It's a combination of questions that people have been asking on the internet, so I decided to answer. I answered this question before, but that was before AI jumped on the internet, so I let AI tell it to you, okay? So the question was, why do lawyers and judges neglect to report violating the rules of professional conduct or the code of judicial conduct? And as you well know in my previous videos, reporting misconduct is mandatory. And the easiest way to prove misconduct by lawyers and judges is just to use the rules and the codes. You don't need any case citings or any of that crap. All you need is the rules and the codes. Okay, lawyers and judges often neglect to report misconduct due to the mix of professional self-preservation, loyalty to peers, and complex ethical exceptions. Because the legal system operates as a self-regulating profession, the fear of overt retaliation and the hesitation to act as whistleblowers frequently deter attorneys from coming forward. So you're going to have to serve as the whistleblower in your own case, citing your lawyer for violating the rules of professional conduct, and then citing the judge for violating the code of judicial conduct, because it's the judge and the opposing party to report your lawyer for failure to abide by the rules of professional conduct. They didn't do that, so failure to report misconduct is misconduct, thus creating a conspiracy against rights under the color of law. All you need are the rules and the codes, people. All right, all you need are the rules and the codes. I'm going to go over that in my next video, okay? Several primary factors explain why reporting often neglected. It's often neglected. It's just neglected. Nobody reports to each other. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in the shit bowl you're in now. Fear of retaliation. Both lawyers and judges. I read that. Over retaliations, lawyers worry a targeted judge might retaliate against their own clients in future rulings, while judges fear political and professional backlash. Yeah, well, just imagine if they got cited and reported and cited for violating the code of judicial conduct for failure to report professional misconduct. That gets them off the bench quick, fast, in a hurry, okay? Now, I heard some people say, well, my lawyer said my state's rules are different. No, they're all modeled after the American Bar Association. Remember, American Bar Association set these rules, so this is basically a federal standard, And remember, this is guaranteed by the U.S. Constitution in the 6th Amendment. The 5th Amendment, due process, a fair trial, quick and speedy trial, none of that's happening, and it's not going to happen unless you know. Remember, ignorance is the law is no excuse in a court of law. They'll use it against you, so use it against them. There's zero tolerance on these violations, and you can't violate one rule without violating multiple rules, and you can't violate the rules of professional conduct without the judge violating the code of judicial conduct, and the judges won't do it, because if he points out the lawyer's going to point him out, and the other lawyer, and then the other lawyer is going to point your lawyer out, and the judge is going to point at them, and then they got to report each other. Now, the internet, it tells you lawyers are not required to self-report, but the rules of professional conduct clearly state any violation of the rules and the codes must be reported. Doesn't say except for oneself. And I used that a couple of times when reporting misconduct. I said I filed it for somebody else, that their lawyer failed to report the state's attorney for misconduct, and that misconduct was failure to report my attorney or his attorney for misconduct. It's really a vicious circle. Okay, the gray area threshold. The American Bar Association only requires when the misconduct raises a substantial question about colleagues' honesty, trustworthiness, or fitness to practice. Many legal professionals rationalize borderline behavior as isolated incidents rather than reportable offenses. So remember, they're not going to report each other, so that's on you, okay? Lawyers and judges are not going to report each other for violating the rules of professional conduct or the code of judicial conduct, because once reports the other, they all go down. It's a domino effect, it's Jenga. Just at the end, when you pull that last and everything falls, this is, okay, and this is the easiest way. Use the rules and the codes to report malicious prosecution. And remember, there's compensation for malicious prosecution. I did a video on that. I hope you're listening. And don't get stuck on one video. I got hundreds of them, that things you need to know about that your public servants aren't doing. Okay, that's violating the oath. Violating the oath alone is deprivation of rights. Look it up. It's on the net. Is violating the oath deprivation of rights? Pretty simple question. The duty to report a fellow lawyer misconduct does not apply if it requires disclosing information protected by attorney-private privilege. In many instances, the ethical duty to keep clients confident takes procedure over the duty to report to opposing counsel or judge. Participation in assistance programs, information regarding colleagues' ethical violations is often shielded from reporting if it is learned during participation in approved lawyer or judge assistance programs. The exception exists in current struggling professionals to seek help for substance abuse and mental health without fearing disbarment. And that is grounds for disbarment, being a drunk or a junkie. All right, you can't come to court drunk. You do that at your job, you get fired. Remember, same thing with them. But they don't hold each other to these laws. They think they're above the law. They think they have qualified immunity. Lawyers, judges, state's attorneys. The state's attorney cannot have qualified immunity knowingly and willingly depriving you of your constitutional rights. And it was your constitutional right. Remember, the rules and the codes, those are your constitutional rights. That's due process. That's what gives you a fair trial. That's effective assistance of counsel. So everything contained within the rules and the codes are your constitutional rights. They are law. And, your public servants, lawyers and judges, all lawyers are public servants. You'll find that in the rules of professional conduct. Okay, they're operating in a public trust, which makes them public servants. The public trust is the judiciary. Okay, so you'd have to research the public trust doctrine to understand that. And you could also fix the medical system. You know how everybody's getting cut on their medical benefits and whatever? Look up the public trust doctrine. Your public servants are responsible for your clean air, your clean water, your preventing pollution, and making sure you have good health, and but they're not doing it. Look up the public trust doctrine, people. I did a video on that. Professional solidarity and culture. That's what it's all about. Professional solidarity and culture. I've been telling you, people, since the 80s, it's a society within our society, and their only loyalties are to each other. That's why nobody's reporting each other for misconduct. So that's up to you. You got to be the whistleblower. And don't forget, you can file a whistleblower complaint as well, okay? Make you some money. I've been trying, but, for some reason, every time I put my name on something, I don't get an answer, and it's just me by myself. All this time, just me. And one man alone can't do it. Only a sane, obnoxious, absurd baby man would tell you, I alone can do it. I alone can't do it. I need you, all of you. I need all my people to come together, we the people, to claim our right to due process, to claim our right to effective assistance of counsel, to a fair trial, to a quick and speedy trial. Look up the quick and speedy trial. That's always violated. People could get out of prison based on being denied a quick and speedy trial. You can't violate the statute of limitations on that. And if they do, the case gets dismissed with prejudice. Okay, so reporting professional misconduct. It used to say reporting professional misconduct is mandatory. Now it just says reporting misconduct. Because I used to quote them word for word back in 79, 80s, 90s, 2000s. I stopped, but I've been mostly helping other people. Plus, CPD caught me and told me stop, or if you know what's good for you, you made it out alive, you're still alive, you still got your family to worry about. And the first one they brought up was my dad, and panic attacks kicked in, migraines kicked in, but it didn't stop me from helping other people. Okay, so if you've seen one of my other videos, I got the Rules of Professional Conduct, copies of it from the 90s. I had to copy that out of books. Rules of Professional Conduct, Code of Judicial Conduct. I had to make up my own complaint forms in the 80s. In the 90s, they got pissed because I would go there and ask them for a complaint form. I got copies of their complaint form. But either way, so let's go back to the top. Why do lawyers and judges neglect to report violating the Rules of Professional Conduct and the Code of Judicial Conduct? Because everybody goes down. It's a house of cards. It takes a domino effect. Okay? So it's up to you to be the whistleblower. Their loyalty is to each other. This is a loyalty that our public servants seem to have for each other, and they throw around qualified immunity for each other like it's nobody's business, but qualified immunity is contrary to the rule of law. And even the U.S. Supreme Court said any law contrary to federal law is void. It carries no weight. Okay, and then if you look it up where they started it, which is in 67 in Pierce versus Ray, some cops stopped some preachers from congregating. They were waiting for a bus to leave, and they were having coffee, and the cops came and said, hey, you got to separate here. You're causing a disturbance. It's because some black preachers were associating with some white preachers, and they were running around the country getting people to register to vote and vote. That was during the Civil Rights Movement. And the police told them they had to separate because there was a sign on the wall, coloreds only, so separate. And they cited their religious beliefs and, 10 Commandments and such, And the cops arrested anyways because they said they were causing disturbance. The only disturbance that was caused was with the police that objected to them talking and sitting together and drinking coffee together. They weren't drinking out of the same cup, but they were associating with each other. And so the police caused a big disturbance. Plus, this was in the era of Jim Crow laws. Now, Jim Crow laws, those are anti-rule of law, anti-constitutional, un-American. But it happened anyways. They called it the Civil Rights Movement, but the civil rights are nothing more than the Bill of Rights, your constitutional rights. As a United States citizen, your birthrights. Why does anybody have to fight over it? Why do people have to sue for it? Why aren't your public servants enforcing the law, not against you, but against themselves and each other? Why aren't they holding each other accountable? It's because of your ignorance of the law, and in a court of law, they will hold that against you. They will say that your ignorance of the law is no excuse. What's their excuse? For deprivation of rights, conspiracy against rights under the color of law. Not just against you. You're nobody special. I'm nobody special. It's happening to everybody everywhere all at once. In every court across the United States of America. So damn it, people. Pick up a book. Read the Rules of Professional Conduct. Read the Code of Judicial Conduct. Find your way. Let my light be yours. This guided me to everything else I post about. I was left for dead because of this. My life has been threatened multiple times. And still I carry on. Some people ask me why I do this. And I answer with one simple question. What would Jesus do? I'm a holy roller. This is about the greater good. I know what's going to happen to me. I know what's coming. But as long as I can get you to understand what you're going through, what you're living with, you're living under the color of the law because your public servants are operating under the color of law. And the only way to stop them is deprive them of your ignorance of the law. And that's what I'm trying to do with you. I'm trying to help. So no matter what happens to me, stand up for yourself. You're a lot smarter than you think you are. I know it. I've been proving it. I proved it to so many of you throughout my years that you can understand what I can understand. People tell me I'm smart. And well, if you think I'm smart, wouldn't you be just as smart if you read the same damn shit? Yes, you would. Listen, every time I read, not everything, but when it came to the laws, I couldn't afford the book, so I somewhat committed it to memory. And here I am, years later, finding it on the internet and exposing it to you. The legal term is divulge. Mass divulgence. People, I ain't got nothing but love for you. Ever since I read the Constitution, it took me to the Declaration of Independence, which took me to the Magna Carta. But when I read the part, there is a dominant factor in the Declaration of Independence, as well as the Constitution, that we, the people, are endowed by our Creator, with certain inalienable rights. Amongst these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Even though the Constitution wasn't written yet, in the Declaration of Independence, the forefathers wrote, any usurpations of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness must be met with resistance, and those people must be replaced. Okay, so remember, their commitment is to each other, not to you. But the rules, the codes, the oath, the basic obligations of public service, the oath of public service, every law contradicts that. What they are doing is against the law. Deprivation of rights, and considering it's two or more people, it's a conspiracy against rights under the color of law. And which is ridiculous because we have government agencies with civil rights divisions that watch this go on continuously on a day-to-day basis with the worldwide net. It's easy to see. Everybody's putting it out there. I see lawyers sitting in CPS cases and saying, if I were still a judge in this court or a lawyer in that court, I would do this, I would do that, because what they're doing isn't right. Well, hey, reporting misconduct is mandatory. Get up off your ass and report that shit to the proper authorities. Do like I do. Yell at the top of my lungs. I go everywhere, anywhere, and anywhere possible to talk about this. I've been doing it for years. And now here I am doing it on the internet. Look at it. Lawyers and judges often neglect to report misconduct due to a mix of professional self-preservation, loyalty to peers, and complex ethical exceptions. So I've been saying that for years. Here the internet is telling you the same thing. I didn't write this. I'm just reading it to you. There's a lot of questions here. Do lawyers have a professional duty to report judges and lawyers for not following procedural law? Yes. That's a stupid question. Do courts and judges have a duty to care to follow the standard of mandatory reporting? Yes. A judge who's aware the lawyer has violated the rules of professional conduct in a way that raises a substantial question so yes, it's all you got to do is read the rules of professional conduct and the code of judicial conduct, and it freaking tells you. I just did 2 videos on, the code of judicial conduct and the rules of professional conduct. And you would know it's a common occurrence of violating the rules of codes. It's a common occurrence daily in every court across America. If you would just read it, people, just read the rules of professional conduct and the code of judicial conduct. It's as easy as understanding what I already read to you in all my videos. I'm sorry to be in the mood, but I worry about you so much. And it's depressing that you're going through what I'm going through, what I went through and still going through, living under the color of law because our public servants are operating under the color of law. Remember, people, just violating the oath alone is deprivation of rights. You don't want to just read the oath of office. You want to read the oath of public service. Read that. It's definitive. It'll give you more than the oath of office, well, as far as your public servant's legal obligations. Okay, people, like I said, it was just a simple question I asked the internet. Why do lawyers and judges neglect to report violating the rules of professional conduct or the code of judicial conduct? It's because of their loyalty to each other. And, there's heavy fines, penalties for deprivation of rights, fines, removed from public service, and incarceration, violating the letter of the law, fines, removed from public service, incarceration. If death was involved, one could receive the death penalty, and it says that in so many of the other laws I read to you. All right, people, I'm going to let this one go. Thank you and good night. May your Creator always be with you and rain many blessings. I wish you a long life and good health. Nothing but peace and love for you. Nothing but peace and love. I wish you nothing less than joy and happiness. Good night, y'all.